Julifer 9211 coming at you with another live duel. This duel is specifically for a lot of the people, which is generally the majority of people hate the restage card that I have. I want to talk a little bit about it. It's not really a venting, it's more of a facts video. So basically, everybody that plays Yu Gi Oh! Has their own deck. And when someone brings either a complaint or they're crying about a card or they're accusing you of something, they must have proof. That's the way it works, at least here in the US. So, the USA. So, people have said, restage is an old card, don't play it. And even though this is true, if we base it off what somebody says, when somebody opens their mouth, basically they hang themselves because in stating restage is old card, so is Dark Magician. So if we go off of their teaching, that means you can't play Dark Magician because he's an old card. But you see, once you bring that up, they disagree because they say Dark Magician is not an old card. And when you look it up, Dark Magician is basically goes back to 2002. So if someone's gonna say don't play restage because it's an old card, then don't play Dark Magician either because he's an old card. And you get what I'm saying. Like people, they'll dish out something, they'll say something, and not notice that like almost 90%, or I would say more, when people open their mouth, they just hang themselves. That's why there's a proverb that says, um, when there's excessive words, it says transgression is not lacking. So basically, you're just hanging yourself. So now that we got that out of the way, um, sometimes you don't really have to destroy your opponents verbally, they just destroy themselves. The second thing is, there's a lot of people that challenge me to a duel, and everybody's welcome to duel me, but they have to download Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro 2. I went a step further, and I posted a video on how to download it, so you don't have any excuses, and then you just come duel me. The other thing is, a lot of people when they duel, they do well on the game, and when they go play at their local tournament, they don't really win at all. The reason being is, if you duel and you don't get done at least 1 to 2 negations per turn, the chances of you losing to in a local tournament are like 100%. The reason why is because dueling online is nothing like dueling your locals, and I'll explain why. When you duel in your locals in a tournament, everyone brings their ace card decks, and they generally negate you twice per turn. Like twice during your turn, your draw phase, your first turn with 5 cards, and then they'll negate you like another one time during their turn, like you're just on standby. And then when it's your turn again, they'll negate you 2 times again. So if you do it on a calculator, it's 2, and then 1, and then 2 again. So by the time you play 2 times, they already negated you 5 times. And that is the reason why people lose, because they can't handle negations. Now, when I play duels, I don't upload any rogue decks. See, a lot of people have a lot of videos and their wins are with rogue decks. And then when they fight against the deck that gives them opposition, you know what they do? They all lose. I'm willing to stand by my word. There's no decks in existence that I know that are Dark Magician that their opponent is winning, like they're just completely destroyed and they win. You will not find them because they don't exist. Now, however, on my channel, most of my videos, my opponent has the upper hand, and then I win, I destroy them. So that's an interesting situation there, because how is it that I'm able to win if my opponent is winning? So the answer is strategy. Just because your opponent is winning doesn't mean he's going to win. So he negates me 2 times, gets rid of Dragoon. That doesn't mean nothing. I still have plenty of other cards. Dragoon is not the winning condition. Neither is Dark Magician. It's the whole entire deck working together. So that's why a lot of people can't figure it out. They can't. They keep changing their decks 100 times and they never win. A lot of the time, it's not necessarily the deck condition; it's the player condition. The problems with the player, not with the deck. So, I have a current person. He's on my channel. He doesn't really. I'm not gonna name him, but he doesn't really contribute. Like he doesn't subscribe, and all he does is he hates my deck. He hates the cards that I play. Yet I go through negations every turn. Every video you click, I go through negations, all of them, and I win. And then when they post, they go 30, 40, even 100 duels, zero negations. That's not real life. Real life, you have the actual deck, it costs money. You go down to your locals and you find out that they negate everything you do, and that's why you lose. So if people actually go, they know what I'm talking about. Everything gets negated. So you have to have a deck to where you can take negations and dish out negations. So here's an example. So I have a hand, and you might argue it's a good hand. And like I always said, it doesn't matter what kind of hand you have, even if you have a top tier, hand, it's garbage because they can negate it. So it's what you can do with the 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 garbage hand that determines if you're good. Because a lot of people, they put cards because they're like, oh, I'm gonna be negated and I need this to survive, and then they still don't win because they haven't realized it's not the cards 100% of the time that are helping you. They're changing out cards, thinking if I put these cards, I can win this time because they changed their deck. That's not the answer. The answer is how did they negate you, and what are other ways to play your cards to even after you took some negations to come on top. That's the correct way. So even after they negate you, you still win. So playing your cards right is 100% of the problem. So here we go. So activate, send the Dark Magician Girl, and I'm in a special, and I'm gonna activate effect to draw some cards. But like I said, in real life you get negated. So I take my negation, and if you look at my hand, he negated me off the hand, so I wasn't even able to special summon him. So people tell me like, Magician's Restage, the card sucks. That's what people say. And they told me like, how can you play it? How can it be a one card combo? They don't get it. Like, how can it be a one card combo? You're required to have a card in the graveyard. Well, in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, because a lot of people don't know, in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, you start with 5 cards. So, Magician Restage is 1, you still have 4 cards. I don't know about where they're playing, but I can only tell you from me. And the official rules, you draw 5. So if when I was Magician Restage, I still have 4 more cards. So 100% of the time, I'm gonna use it. Do I have proof? Yes, over 90 videos. So what do I do with Magician's Restage? When they negate me, activate Magician's Salvation. So you might not always have Magician's Salvation, but you can have Restage. And here we go. Normal summon, Spellbook of Prophecy, Spellbook of Secrets, activate Book of Knowledge, and then I restage. And then I restage magician souls, what they just destroyed. Remember, they negated. So their negation, I just burned their card. Their look at his hand. He had 5 cards. Obviously, he's gonna end up having 6, but he had 5 cards to begin with, or 6, and he just utilized one. I burned it, and you can argue like, no, that's not true. He didn't burn it. Yeah, he did, because he played a card to stop me, but it was burned. I burned his card because it was a 1-for-1, but I brought back the same card that he negated. Is back on the field, back with all his effects. I'm able to draw cards, and then I can link off. Look. So I drew cards, linked off Dragoon. So if you analyze what just happened, I burned his card. I played everything I wanted to play, and now I have Dragoon. So in a sense, he didn't really do anything. And all thanks to Magician's Restage. 1-card combo. And guess what? I have Upstart Goblin. And here's another thing that you can tell that I'm playing live. Like, this isn't like I copied it from someone. I'm gonna show you an example. I'm gonna go into my graveyard, and then I'm gonna click on Dark Magician. So go in the graveyard, then I click on Dark Magician, and then the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and click on my trap, Eternal Soul. Then I'm gonna click on all the 3 cards that I have in my hand. I don't know which way you want to do it, but I'm gonna do it from left to right. So we got Upstart Goblin. I'm clicking on it. Then Dark Magic Attack, and then I have Twin Twister. And then I'm gonna click on my Magician Salvation, and then Dragoon. Then I'm gonna click on my Predator Plant, Verta, and Akanda. So with that, then my Dark Mission, and then so that proves that this is really me dueling. Like, I proved it with commentary. I proved it with clicking on all the cards. Who would click on all the cards? Unless it was my video. This isn't somebody else's video. And then my name is also my channel name, Julifer9211. A lot of people, they upload those and they're not really themselves. It's somebody else. And their names keep changing. And they don't do commentary. And why do I bring that up? Because you have a lot of fake players. The real life Dark Magician players only complain about 2 things. Number 1, brick hands. Number 2, they lose all the time. Those are the real Dark Magician players. So for me, if you put the number 1, number 2, number 1, I've never complained about a brick hand, because when I get them, I unbrick it. And number 2, losing, I lose about two single duels out of 10. Or if I go to the locals, I'll end up winning 5 out of the 6, or 4 out of the 6, or sometimes I've taken first place. So people say like, oh, they want proof. The moment you say they want proof, you hang yourself, because that means you have to prove it too. And a lot of the people, their channels are empty. And some of the people that have some content, they're playing against Rogue Deck and they're struggling to beat them. If you play Dragoon, to me Dragoon is nothing. I've gone through a lot of Dragoons. They're really nothing. Dragoon's nothing. My 90% of wins are off a Dark Magician, not Dragoon. So if you summon a Dragoon and you think that you did something special, you really didn't do anything. So we'll see what happens. I activate the effect to pop. So it's my first turn. I pop the card. So ask yourself a question. And the first turn, can you deal damage to your opponent? I don't know about you, but I can. Then I'm about to pop the second card and he surrenders. And then I still have to draw a card. So there you go. After a negation, and I still restage brought me Dragoon. It let me draw more cards, and then on top of that, I got to pop card and inflict 2,000 damage, even though it was my first turn. Who can who who amongst the million of dollars can say I dealt 2,000 points of damage my first turn off of a negation? Good luck, dark magic attack.